everyone, welcome to Taking the Pulse, a healthcare and life sciences video podcast. I am Heather Hoops Matthews, here today with Maynard Nexon healthcare attorney Matthew Roberts. Matthew, good to be with you.
Good to see you.
We are coming to you live from SCbio, one of the premier annual events for life sciences in the Southeast. It's held this year in Charleston, South Carolina, bringing together amazing presentations and some of the industry's brightest leaders. One of who is joining us today, Vinnie. Thank you so much for joining us. You spoke earlier today. You are with Savills.
Yep. Savills, however you want to say it. Doesn't matter.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into your role, and what you're doing here today.
Yeah. So Vinnie Durand, I live up in Raleigh, Durham. Got into commercial real estate. Really, it's everything I've done in my career so far. Kind of stumbled on the life sciences industry by way of an acquisition our company made. So we acquired a group up in Boston in the Bay Area that were kind of preeminent tenant rep life science brokers, and me being an RTP and no one really in our office focusing on it, I kind of just got really interested. I was studying the market, knew a lot of the players, and called up the people up in Boston and said, hey, if you teach me the science portion, I'll do the real estate portion. And it just kind of created a good little partnership, and that's since evolved into kind of the greater Southeast. And our team does a lot of national and global tenant representation. So kind of dealing with stuff all over the globe when it comes to life sciences, manufacturing, med device, and I thoroughly love it. It's great.
Yeah, that's great. You made your own way.
Yes.
Saw something you enjoyed, leaned into it.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I've been around the healthcare industry kind of my whole career. My dad was a serial entrepreneur in the healthcare world, so I got a little bit of a taste of it growing up.
Yes.
And unfortunately been in the hospital way too many times, so I love science and all it's done for me, but it's really cool to be on kind of the built side of science and kind of seeing things come to life.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, Vinnie, the real estate market in the life sciences space has been growing a lot, and you've been part of that growth. How is the market trying to adapt, or having to adapt to meet the increased demand on things like lab space and manufacturing space, particularly in markets like South Carolina and North Carolina?
Yeah, it's we were talking earlier, it's kind of in its infancy phase right now, especially in South Carolina. Historically, there has not been any lab space outside of the hospitals. And to their credit, they internally came in and said, hey, if we want to start keeping IP within our systems, we need to build a place for ideas to go and work. And so you're going to start to see incubators and accelerators pop up. I think you're going to have a hard time finding speculative new builds, R&D buildings, just given the capital markets are still a little bit constrained, and the risk profile of going spec on an R&D building is still kind of scary. But that's not what to say. I think the state can kind of get behind a couple relocations. I think they can grab a couple of kind of larger logos to come down and backfill some demand. And then from there, it's kind of like the races are on. How can we build more space and keep the demand up rather than kind of hitting a lull?
Well, you just spoke at the conference and you talked about building an ecosystem for the life sciences industry with things like innovation districts and laboratory hubs. How do you see, and you talked a little bit about South Carolina as sort of in its infancy stage, but how do you see the potential for this ecosystem growing in the state in terms of life sciences?
It's uncapped.
Right.
I think the talent and what's in the pipeline, I think SCbio just finished a Deloitte study where it'll kind of talk about the next 5 years of growth. I think the findings of that will kind of secure everyone's hypothesis that this is a really good state for life sciences. I think innovation districts are the way to go and kind of catalyze everything to move forward.
Can you talk a little bit about what an innovation district is?
So an innovation district is essentially I don't want to say synthetic, but it's a built environment where commingling of companies and people intersect on a daily basis. That can be, for life science companies focusing on therapeutics, 2 buildings away from 2 med device companies, but they go to happy hours after or go get coffee and kind of share things, all the way down to, apartments and grocery stores and places where people just remain in one area, and ideas can just churn out of it. So when you look at successful innovation districts across the country, Kendall Square, in San Francisco, pretty much any of the submarkets are innovation districts of their own, because they're going to have a piece of a healthcare system attached to a private company, attached to a public company, and there's going to be places for people to live. So you're really trying to just create a cluster where everything stays the same. A good kind of metaphor would be a master planned residential community where you've got a golf course and a tennis court and some pickleball and places for people to live. You've got senior living. Like, that's kind of a residential similarity to what an innovation district would be.
And how can the state help foster that? We know that it's not technically an innovation district, but the research triangle, that the state of North Carolina had a significant role in visioning that and letting that area develop. How can the state play a useful role in the development of these type of spaces?
Yeah, they have to get creative with the incentive process that they throw to companies, and also they need to make it as easy as possible for developers to come in with an idea if they were to get financing to actually go and build something. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where you need the incentives from the company perspective, and then also the state to just kind of make it a little bit more easier for things to be built in conjunction with
right. And that would include things like permitting and those type
Correct.
of things.
Permitting,
being sort of developer friendly.
Yeah, one interesting thing just to note back to RTP. So in the entirety of, how Research Triangle Park is essentially 7,000 acres. It's pretty much its own city, right? It's got, its own municipalities, et cetera. But when they put together the park, they had these ordinances and covenants where you could only develop a certain amount of land on your parcel. That was very, very, it's kind of nearsighted. I want to be careful with my words, because as the park grew and these companies grew, they were constrained on their actual parcel to densify. And so that's why there's never been residential housing in RTP. There's never been any mixed use, because you literally couldn't do it on the site. Just last week or the week before, they just overruled that. And so now they're going to allow densification and mixed use districts to pop up within the park. And that will inherently catalyze a continuance of companies to go there.
That's great.
So that's a very good case point for Charleston County, all the other counties in South Carolina to say, hey, they learned from it. It took them 65 years to figure out that that's probably not the way to go.
Right.
How can we avoid having a similar situation down here?
What exactly would a life sciences leader be looking for inland? I mean, think about RTP.
Yep.
It's way 40 minutes from downtown Raleigh during traffic.
Yeah, it can be 10 minutes. It can be 40 minutes. It depends on where you're coming from, whether it's Durham, Chapel Hill, or Raleigh. But from a land perspective, RTP has historically, because of the covenants, been large corporate campuses. There has not been a lot of building parks where there have been a plethora of multi-tenanted buildings built. It's been a lot of big names, IBM, Cisco, BASF, Bayer coming in and nabbing a huge parcel and building a campus hidden behind the trees that you can't even see.
Right.
So historically, they wanted land, they wanted privacy. Now it's all about visibility. So when you're an executive and you're looking to expand into a new market, depending on what you're really working on, you're going to want exposure to talent. You're going to want people to be driving by and seeing your site and how beautiful it is and the potential of, hey, could I see myself working here? So from just kind of like an aesthetic perspective, that's one of the big things. From a actual location and land site perspective, power and water are crucial for the life sciences industry. If you don't have immediate power available, it's going to delay everything. If you don't have a good wastewater situation from all of the things you're pumping out of the facility, you're kind of crippled as to what you can do. And then they just want to know that the city itself, the municipality, is going to be there as they grow. So if they need to tap into a larger reserve of water or a heavier power allotment, like they want to know that it's a good kind of friendly relationship.
Well, it's great to hear that you might think South Carolina is an emerging market
I love it
for
down
this.
here. Yeah, it's got all the right pieces of the recipe to go forward. People are great here. It's a great cost of living, great way of life. You've got 3 really great universities, and you've got some really great community colleges that will kind of add on from a talent pipeline. And it's just an untapped market yet, where I think it'll take time for the word to get out, but it'll get out and people will want to come here.
All right. Well, Vinnie Durand, hopefully you'll be at the forefront
We'll
bringing
see.
them here
We'll
for
see.
site
We'll
selection.
see. Yeah, that'd be great.
With Savills.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for your grace with that. We thank you for joining
thanks
us.
for having me.
On behalf of our whole Pulse team, for those of you who joined us today, we hope you enjoyed this conversation. Be on the lookout for South Carolina. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time right here on Taking the Pulse, a healthcare and life sciences video podcast.